Okay, everyone, we are now live. Please proceed.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the June 4th Mountain Community Capital Fund Operating Committee meeting. Great to see you all with us. Before we jump into the agenda, I want to go around and do a quick round of intros. If you could please state your name, if you have a position, if you are a voting member, or if you're one of our lenders, or if you are one of our liaisons, that would be great. So quickly, I'm Jeff Kaplan. I work at Venture Asheville, and I am the vice chair and a voting member of the committee. I'm just gonna, is it okay if I call people out and go around? Would that be all right? Just kind of keep moving. All right, great. D, I have you next on my list. Would you like to say good morning and hello?
Good morning. My name is Dorothea Williams. I'm the president of D. Williams and Company Incorporated, which is a local firm that supplies management, technical assistance, and financial management to nonprofits and ethnic minority businesses.
And you're a voting member. Yep. Okay, great. And now I have Lynn Smith. Can't hear Lynn. Can anybody hear Lynn? Okay, Lynn, we'll come back to you. Next on my list is Yasleen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasleen Gonzalez. I am a lender with Mountain BizWorks, and I'm a non-voting member.
Is that a puppy with you today?
Yes. Also wanting to say hello.
Also a non-voting member. Thank you.
Yes, also
non-voting. I have Nikki Reed.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nikki Reed. I serve as the Interim Director for Community and Economic Development for the City of Asheville, and I am a voting member.
Very good. Thank you very much. Tony McDowell.
Morning, everyone. Tony McDowell, Finance Director for the City of Asheville, and I'm a voting member.
Thank you very much. Karen Omansky.
I'm Karen Omansky, Director of Small Business Lending at Self Help, filling in for Jessie Maxwell while she's out, and we are a lender.
Thank you so much. Glad to have you with us today. Zuri, have you next on my list?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Surilma Anuel. I am the director of the Western Women's Business Center. We provide technical assistance in business lending, and I am a non-voting member. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Rosanna, you're next.
Rosanna Mulcahy, City of Asheville. I'm a liaison and non-voting member.
Very good. Thank you so much. Rachel?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Rachel Nygaard. I work with Buncombe County in strategic partnerships as a voting member of this group.
Very good. Thank you so much. Angelica?
Good morning, Angelica Driver. I'm the administrative assistant for the Community and Economic Development Department, and I just run the tech here, non-voting.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Glad to have you with us as always. And Tim, I don't see your name, but I believe you're still called in. Is that right?
Good morning. It's Tim Love, Buncombe County Government, voting member.
Very good. One more call for Lynn. I know she was on earlier. We all heard her. Is she in? No, I don't believe we have Lynn. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So therefore I have 6 voting members. So we're still at quorum. So we can proceed. And we'll see if Lynn can make it back on. Very good. If you look at our agenda, and Angelica, would it help if I shared my screen to show the agenda? Is that appropriate?
Sure, that's fine.
Let's see if I can pull up the right window. Can you all confirm you now see a Word document? Yes, I see it now coming on. All right. So first thing we're going to be doing is, there we go, approving the minutes from the May 7th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And may I ask, is anyone taking minutes this morning? Do you have a volunteer to take minutes at today's meeting?
I'll take the minutes.
Rosanna, thank you so much. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the May meeting? And
I'll move to approve if
Thank you so
everyone's
much,
had a
Dee.
chance to review.
Thank you very much. And then we would need a second.
Second, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Rachel. So that was a motion to approve by Dee, seconded by Rachel. All those in favor, I guess, could we do an audible aye or yes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, I guess I can say as well. Any?
This is Dee Williams, aye.
Thank you, Dee. Any opposed? Any changes to be made? Okay, then I will, looks like the motion is approved to approve the minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on our agenda is, I can pull this out, is an update from me, follow up on grant process. I sent out an email to you all regarding the need to fill out a survey form as part of the Dogwood Health Trust's pre-application. It's a pretty simple form. It's 2 questions asking about the diversity of the board. And I have 7 responses so far. And there's 8 members of the board. So you have until the end of, actually, no, there's 7 members of the board, right? Because we still have an open position. So I guess that would fill it out. But here are the results. And this is how it'll be reported in the application. Along these metrics, just these numbers. It's anonymized. Does this look good to everyone? Any changes, any edits, any questions, concerns? I will take your silence as a thumbs up that it looks good. With that, we'll keep moving on. Thank you all. Quick and easy.
Jeff, this is Rachel with the question.
Rachel.
So with the grant process with Dogwood Health Trust, this is essentially the sort of initial inquiry stage, not a grant application. I understand
That's
that. Are we being asked to articulate something specific in terms of a dollar amount or anything like that at this point, or it's just a bit opening of a conversation?
That's right. This is the opening of a conversation. So they want to understand who the organization is. It's simple text like our mission and objectives, which were pulled from our landing page. I don't even know if it asks any history of the fund and what we've done. I put in some details about the number of loans we've given out, our structure, the funding, the agreement, the oversight from the community. And then the goal is to get in the door, right? They created a new portal because we're getting so much inbound requests. This is their kind of fill the funnel. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. I also want to ask if this is an okay time to add just a note about other possible fundraising. It's not a long discussion, but updating, but it's not Dogwood Health Trust related.
I don't see why not. The next item on our agenda is reevaluating guaranteed percentages on loans. So that seems to be a similar topic. And this was brought up last month with the American Rescue Plan. So maybe that's where you're going with it.
It is.
So at this time, I'd love to hear an update. Thank you, Rachel.
Sure. So American Rescue Plan you mentioned is the overall federal aid package that has various funding streams. One of those funding streams within American Rescue Plan is state and local fiscal recovery funds. That's the direct assistance to governments, including every state, every county, every city, town. So all of our entities are in the process of planning around what those potential uses of funds could be. Buncombe County's approach is to solicit project applications. So we just opened an RFP, that's a request for proposals, this week, and it's open for about 6 weeks, and due July 15th. People can go to buncombecounty.org/recovery funding for more information. But please, the way that it relates here, please know that we're strategizing about could Mountain Community Capital Fund be a potential use of funds, and looking at whether that propose, who would be the right entity to submit that proposal, so that we can get it into the list for evaluation and consideration. Overall, we're looking to use these funds for recovery from COVID and its negative economic impacts, with particular emphasis on equitable recovery for most impacted populations. And on the whole, the type of work and the type of impact created by Mountain Community Capital Fund does seem like a great fit. So we're just sort of assessing the details of that again and trying to see exactly how we can get it in, submitted for review. So that's an update, and we'll keep it posted.
Great. Can I ask you a very pointed question? Because I was reading the RFP last night, and I think you were referencing a comment in there that entities can only submit one application. So, for example, I'm gonna pick on Mountain BizWorks, if I may. Like, I expect that they would, have their own application for either funding or programming, opportunities. So they couldn't be the lead, for example, on this request through MCCF. Could MCCF itself be an entity? I guess that's the right question.
I don't think the MCCF is an entity in itself. It needs to be eligible a nonprofit organization or a public body. And so you're right, there's a fair bit of strategizing that groups need to do to sort of figure out which is their most pressing, highest priority, most ready to go project that they think would be a great fit for the funds. We might have other cycles and there might be other opportunities to submit, but you're right, in this initial proposal round, as a way of managing volume, quite frankly, we're limiting it to one per.
Great, that's very important to know. And that should be an action item before the next meeting, which would be a week, maybe 10 days before the application RFP response would be due. So it'd probably fall on one of our committee members.
If anyone would like to talk about it, they can reach out to Tim or I, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you.
Well, I'll go as far as to say I think it'd be a missed opportunity if we did not submit an application. It seems like a no loss, no fault thing to do. It's just a matter of organizing strategically, as you said, Rachel.
Tim, do you have anything to add?
I think that sums it up well, and nothing additional to add.
Do you feel comfortable that you and I agree to work with folks to ensure that someone agrees to be the submitter?
Yeah, I do. And I also think it would be a great thing to see that proposal come from a third party, namely a CDFI, rather than be treated as like a governmental request. It won't make it any more favorable.
Well, let me ask one more question then, if I may, since we're on the topic. Let's say one of our CDFIs is putting in a request. Could the increase be increased? Let's say it's for argument's sake, a $10 million request, and they're going to earmark $1 million to MCCF. Could they go larger, or is it one ask or one? What kind of scope can they look at in the request?
I would be happy to respond to that. This is Rachel again. It's all about how an organization decides to frame what constitutes a project. So sometimes projects do have multiple components, and that could be a way to structure it. It would be probably easiest to have a one-on-one conversation and understand the details of what the proposed ideas are, and then we could give some response about how they might be submitted. We don't want to make an ask to any organization to please prioritize this above another project that you might think is a higher priority. But we are in conversation with the CDFIs. Those are the community development financial institutions who are part of this group, to find out if any of them, any of your organizations feels prepared to submit this. We'll work with you.
I know that Matt, our executive director, is in conversation with Dogwood Health Trust as well, but I don't know what that looks like at this time. So, or what that process is. So I know that he has thoughts about it. So.
I am also in, I guess, negotiations with Dogwood Health Trust, specifically for another it's not a CDFI, it's a community-based organization, and also with a CRA negotiation with First Citizens Bank. So I guess my question goes to, and I guess Rachel, or I guess Tim, I need to talk offline too. There are some community-based organizations that are not as large as the CDFIs, but they have a peculiar bent in that they are positioned to do technical assistance in a way that, based on the data, that we may be more effective or they may be more effective. I'm working with several. So I don't know if that would be a chance for a partnership or whatever, but I just asked that question if it would include those organizations as well.
Yep, it sure does.
Okay.
So they all are welcome. Again, go to buncombecounty.org/recovery funding. There is a workshop coming up on the 17th that you can read about and sign up for. And I'm conscious that I sort of slid this agenda item in during another funding conversation and don't want to monopolize our time together, but just wanted to make sure everybody is aware that for the purpose of Mountain Community Capital Fund, we are hoping to get a proposal into this process so it can be considered for an infusion of funding from these federal dollars.
Well, Rachel, I'm glad you brought it up. It's something that's been top of my mind, and I think there's a great opportunity here and a real natural alignment for the goals of how to use those recovery funds and this operating committee. So thank you for what's the right word to use here? For just jumping in and taking over the agenda. I'm glad you did.
You're welcome.
Hey, Rachel, really quick. This is Yuri from Carolina Small Business, the Western Women's Business Center, and I am planning to attend the webinar. Just a quick question. So can we apply and do this in collaboration with other nonprofits? Like in this case, if the Western Women's Business Center apply, can we do this in partnership with this group?
Yep, collaborations are encouraged. So drop me a line and we can talk further about that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That's like one of my favorite sentences of all time. Collaboration is encouraged. It truly is. Anything else on this topic, or you guys want to briefly, we're getting a little behind now, talk about reevaluating guarantee percentages on loans? I will take the cue of silence to move forward. So, friends, committee members, city and county representatives, I think it's time to fish or cut bait, as they say. We've had this item on our agenda 3 or 4 months now. And we got to just figure out, are we going to address the loan percentage guarantees that would allow it to flow more capital and change our bylaws, or we're going to leave it the way it is?
Jeff, this is Rachel. Is it on the agenda because somebody's got a request or recommendation?
There's no name attached to the agenda item.
I think it came up in some of the reporting. This is Dee Williams. And I think there was some discussion about the percentage, whether to reduce that percentage. I do remember that. I don't know, I've forgotten the specifics, but I think it comes with the analysis of the loans and I guess the threshold of risk or whatever, based on the loans that we've seen go forward. One of the things that I think, and this is, I'm just speaking for me, is I don't have a lot of information about how those loans are performing. I only go by performance data and metrics. And we don't have an update on how these loans are performing. And I know that some of them were given like a 6-month moratorium on payment and all of that, and that's probably part of the situation. I don't know if we have enough information or if enough time lapse has gone by. One of the other things that we don't have because of the postponement of tax returns, I trust people's financials, but I like tax returns a whole lot better. So I think even if you got an extension, it would be like maybe September or something before you would even be due to turn in a tax return. So I don't know if we've had enough time. I mean, I'm just saying we don't have enough information, at least I don't, with which to make an informed decision. Thanks.
Dee, thank you so much for those comments. Can I read into that we should move this conversation to maybe later Q4 when we have some data and time and filings to see how the loans are performing before we come back to changing the loan percentages?
This is Lynn. I like that idea.
I do want to say that we cannot request tax documents. If anything that's given to us becomes public records, we cannot request those documents. I mean, Jocelyn can see them, she can review them and give us some information about them, but we as public entity, it can become public records. And I'm afraid that by us requesting certain information, we discussed this at the beginning of the Mountain Community Capital Fund, how to maintain the privacy of the borrowers.
So we know that the intermediary is one of the CDFIs, and the CDFIs have access. If they don't have, most banks, most lending institutions are going to see a tax return. That's part of the deal. And so even if we didn't have tax returns to say, I mean, they can be redacted. Y'all know about redactions and stuff like that. All I'm saying is, what do you go by? If you don't have a tax return, what are you going to go by? Audited financial statements? How do you discern what is truth and what is not? I mean, anybody can prepare. I mean, if you want to just trust prepared financials or whatever, or something they come up with, fine. But I'm not asking that we look at those returns. I know about public information laws, but certainly the lender has those. And when the form that we have does ask for profit and loss, and we ask what documents you're using. Now, if you say that they had a net profit or net loss, surely the CDFI ought to be able to go back to a Schedule C or 1120 or whatever it is, 1065, whatever they're using to report that data. And I would hope that it would be that verifiable. There's always a way around stuff. If you deal with lending enough, you'll know that. So we don't have to look at their tax returns, but that state.
I think we just lost D in the middle of that.
Yeah, the lender can look at the information and provide us a report. That's exactly what I said.
Very good.
And of course the lenders we collect all of that information. We collect quarterly financial statements, and we collect annual tax returns. So those are in our files. I don't know if Dee saw it, but a updated spreadsheet with the updated data was sent out. I don't know if many of you have had access to that or have been able to view it, but that information did go out. I believe it was last month.
This is Rachel. I did see the expanded information and found it to be really helpful. I am curious, Yaslin, if you have a perspective on sort of the general concept. I know that you're one of the folks that's most involved in the detailed level of the program on a more regular basis than many of us at the table. And just sort of philosophically around the concept of this guarantee percentage, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so we work with the SBA as well in a similar program. Of course, it's a federal program, so there's a lot more involved and more complex deals. However, the guarantee percentage stays the same. And of course, the percentage is only guaranteed on the balance that's due, not on the entire amount. So even if the loan percentage stays at 85%, because the loan balance gets lower and lower as they repay, that amount of money that's paid back goes back into the pool. So on the report that I had sent out, you can see there's a section of just guaranteed loan amount up to date. I think the last one that I had sent was for the first quarter, so it was through the end of March. Since in the agreement it says that reports have to be sent out every quarter, that's what we're basing it on. So, I mean, either way, money's going back into the pool. And so far, I believe as of March, there was a total of about 10,000 that went back into the MCCF loan pool.
Hey everyone, this is Tim. I apologize for being quiet. I kind of rolled this out in a few months back. I think what Yasleen described makes a lot of sense, and I think addresses my initial question. Because there were two, should the guarantee percentage change? And I think the CDFIs don't feel that that's appropriate given the risk. So I think that to me makes sense. But to Yasleen's latter point, which is that the guarantee amount changes as the balance is paid down, and in a sense creates additional funds that can be used for the guarantee, I think is good. And that's something we wanted to clarify. In discussions with Jesse, who I know is not with us today, Maxwell, I think we discussed it was really important to make sure that we're continuing to see this report that Yasleen's developed, which I think makes a lot of sense. And that way we're all aware of what's available in the most real-time basis that we can get to, because that's a critical thing for our roles and responsibilities on this committee, but also as we're beginning to ask for additional funds from other organizations to be able to say clearly where we are and how the funds are working. So I've rambled a bit there, but Yasleen, I appreciate all you've done on this. It, to me, feels like we're moving in the right direction. And I would ask that we just continue to present that data formally in this committee meeting, just so we all know kind of the latest and greatest as it relates to balances and status of loans, things like that. So.
It seems like we're in agreement. Continue monitoring with more data.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Anything else to discuss on this topic, or should we move on to the new business?
Keep rolling.
All right. Sounds good. Lynn, was that your voice? Say keep rolling?
Yes. Yes,
Fantastic,
I'm here. Hi,
because
everybody.
you are next on the list with new business for election of officers.
So this is awkward because I'm doing this by phone. So I guess we'll just go down the list of officers for chair, vice chair, and secretary. So if you wish to if you want to have a nomination, or you want to put in your nomination to be considered for the role of chair, now is your time to speak. I will not be re-seeking the role of chair. So I'm going to not participate as far as a new nomination.
Lynn, does that mean you would not be seeking any positions at all?
That's correct. Yes.
And one more time.
I'll still seek to be on the committee, but not in a role of an office.
Great. Okay. So, and again, the officers are, is it chair, vice chair, and secretary? Is there another?
Yes, I think those are that's the only three we've had. So I think treasurer is not really needed because we have our CDFIs for that. So I think it's just chair, vice chair, and secretary.
And Robin was our, I'll back up and say that current positions are your chair, I'm vice chair, and Robin was our secretary.
That's correct.
So
Yes.
we're looking at kind of a full slate redo here. Okay. And the positions, can city or county staff, as in Rachel, Tim, Nikki, or Tony, be in those positions? Or is it just the 4 appointees?
Voting members.
All voting members can be.
Yeah. Thank you, Rosanna.
Very good. All right. Well, with
So
that,
is there a nomination for chair?
I would like to nominate Jeffrey Kaplan.
I second.
Nikki, that was quick. First thing you said all day. Just
I was
jump
right
right on there, huh?
Right there.
Wow. All right.
Is there any other nominations for chair? Okay, we will close the nominations for chair. I guess we just vote because there's no other recourse, right? So can we get a motion that we will nominate and we will put Jeff Kaplan as our chair? Is there a motion for that?
It's a Tony. So moved.
Thank you, Tony. Is there a second?
I'll second again.
Is that you, Nikki? I'm on the phone, so I can't see.
Yes, Lynn, this is Nikki.
Okay, awesome. So it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor that Jeff Kaplan become our new chair of the Mountain Community Capital Fund, please state your name and give your yay or nay. So I'm Lynn, and I say yay. Tim Love.
Yay.
Rachel Nygaard.
Yay.
Do we still have Dee Williams on?
Yes, I say yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
I'll say yes. I didn't get a chance to approve the nomination, but we're already so far down the road here that I feel like I got to say yes. And thank you for the nomination and vote of confidence, Rachel and Nikki.
Nikki?
Yes.
And Tony?
Yes.
Congratulations, Jeff. You've been doing a great job thus far. So it's just a continuation of what you've already been doing. So way to go.
Thank you. And I'll take this opportunity to say from strength to strength, thank you, Lynn, from your leadership and guidance and support, been able to step into the role. Thank you very much. And thank you all for your confidence.
Thank you. So now we'll open up the floor for nominations for vice chair. And I also want to note, you can nominate yourself. We haven't had a chance to get anyone to kind of say if they want these roles. So if these are things you're interested in, feel free to go ahead and nominate yourself. So the floor is now open for nominations for our vice chair. Do we have no nominations?
As a former vice chair, let me tell you all, it's a real cush position. So.
Yeah, because you'll really just fill in the event Jeff can't make the meeting. And this is a good opportunity for you to kind of just step out of your comfort zone and just give it a shot. I had no idea what I was doing when I started, but it'll come to you. So just encouraging someone to step forward. I don't want to nominate anyone, but I can.
You should, Lynn.
So my nomination is Tim. I'm sorry, who was I going to cut off?
I say you should nominate someone.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to nominate Tim Love.
And we heard a second from Rachel. Is that right?
Yes.
Y'all are going to make me vote no, huh? I'm kidding.
Okay, awesome. So the floor is, are there any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, we'll close the floor for nominations for vice chair. Is there a motion to appoint or elect Tim Love for our vice chair position?
Yep. So moved. This is Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second?
Second. This is Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. So it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor that Tim Love be our new vice chair, please state your name and give your yay or nay. Tim Love.
Yay.
Thank you. Rachel Nygaard.
Yay.
Dee Williams.
Yes.
Jeff Kaplan.
Yes.
Nikki Reed.
Yes.
Lynn, I'll vote is yes. Tony McDowell.
Yes.
Awesome. So congratulations, Tim, and thank you.
Congratulations, Tim.
Thank y'all. Looking forward to it.
So the next nomination, we're opening up the floor for nominations for the role of secretary. Is there any nominations for the role of secretary? Again, feel free to nominate someone else or nominate yourself.
I want to say that if the secretary cannot meet their responsibilities for a meeting or something, I'm the backup. So,
Okay.
And you don't have to format the minutes perfect or anything, just rough minutes. And I usually, well, that's when I did the agenda. I don't, they can still be sent to me. I'm here as a resource, right? So they can still be sent to me, and I'll format them for the, as the Mountain Community Capital Fund format goes. And then I'll share them back with Lynn to share with the group.
If that's
Okay.
not a deal sweetener, I don't know what is. To get this, it's just
Right.
to be in the role of secretary, work with Rosanna. Basically, you just take notes and send them to her, and everything's taken care of. There's no. You thought vice chair is an easy position. Let me tell you, the secretary. That's where it's at.
And you have your YouTube meeting as a resource should you need to
That's
go
right.
back and watch. So you always have what you need for that role. So if you're thinking to nominate, I don't want to be the one nominating everyone. So is there open nomination for someone else for secretary? So Jeff and Tim, what are your recommendations as far as this position? Because we do have a vacancy still on our committee.
Yeah, I think the only potential issue with that is when we finally have that fourth, I guess, county appointee. I don't want them to feel undue pressure to have to step into a officer role.
Very true.
Although I understand
Very
like
true.
that would be very convenient if someone's like, yeah, this is a great way to learn how the committee operates. But
So
it sounds like
I can operate as our interim secretary.
I think that's a great idea. And then we can reevaluate perhaps Nikki or Tony or Dee or Rachel or this new person may want to step in the role of secretary. I think if with you as interim secretary, I'm very comfortable to close this agenda item and move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Do we
I'll
need
turn
to
it back
vote
over
on
to
that?
you. Okay. Oh, well, yeah. I guess I'm sorry, Rachel. Thanks. So is there a motion to appoint or to vote in Lynn as the interim secretary?
This is Jeff, so moved.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second?
This is Rachel, second.
Thank you, Rachel. And it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor that I be appointed as your interim secretary, please state your name and give your yay or nay. Tim Love.
Yay.
Rachel Nygaard.
Yay.
Dee Williams.
Yes. Yeah.
Jeff Kaplan.
Yay.
Nikki Reed.
Yay.
I vote yay. And Tony McDowell.
Yay.
Thank you all. So we have our officers and interim officers for the coming term. So Chair Jeff, I'll turn it back over to you.
Immediate past Chair Lynn and current interim secretary Lynn, thank you so much. And it's a 2-year term, is that right?
Yes.
2 years. Okay. All right. With that, we're going to loan presentations. Yasleen, you have the floor.
So we do not have any loan presentations this month.
Very good. Moving on to the next agenda item. Actually, before we do that, the last meeting we did not have a quorum to approve a vote. Is that right? Or did someone log in at the end? What happened? I'm trying to go back to the meeting.
Yeah, somebody logged in at the end.
Okay, so we're covered there. Great, very good. In that case, we'll move on to agenda item new business number 3, review of proposed data collection form. Yasleen, once again, you're up.
Yeah, so not sure if everybody got a chance to review or take a look at the proposed data collection form that was sent out.
Yasleen, would it be possible to share screen so we could, would you mind doing
Yeah,
that?
sure thing.
Put you on the spot. Thank you.
Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. So this was just an example that we put together to send to you guys. This is just information that was kind of just made up so that we could take a look and see what kind of information would be listed on the form. So, I mean, pretty much everything that was on the other form has been added on here. And there is a little bit more, I feel like, information that it gives you to really take a look and see and get a better idea of what this business looks like overall. So we've got, let me scroll back up here. We got the loan amount. We've got the relationship manager for at each respective lender. If it's a refi here, where it's located, what it's for, if it's an existing or a startup, the mission fit, the job creation part, the reason why they're not eligible for bank funding, and site visit information or details. And down here, we have the guarantee amount, the amount of the loan total, what type of loan it is, the terms, amortization, the fees that will be collected, and then the risk assessment as well. Credit score, collateral, technical assistance information, and then revenue information, and then EBITDA or debt service coverage ratios, and then their payment amount.
This is D. Williams. There's a demographic information in there too, because I'm on a phone here.
It's right up here.
Okay. So it's pretty similar to the one that we came up with initially. Primarily, and I just wanted to say that the only reason why we came up with anything anyway was to sort of like collect information so that we would have it, and it could almost be built like real time. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with this update or whatever you call it, just as long as we get the info. And it's all good.
Yasleen, if I may be pedantic for a moment, if you wouldn't mind. On the second page, I was looking at risk rating, and you have a rating of 3. Is that like a 1 out of 5 scale, 5 being high, or 1 out of 10? What do you consider risk ratings?
So the risk rating is really for it's the what Mountain Best Works uses to rate or the risk asset for each loan. 3 is kind of like the mid. 1 it would be super low risk, and then 6 would be the at risk or riskier. So.
Okay, I was wondering, what is the scale out of what's high, what's low? Very good.
Yep.
If I can ask you one more question, the EBITDA and DSCR question. I'm familiar with EBITDA. DSCR, so is debt service credit ratio. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, debt service coverage ratio. Is pretty much the ratio of how many times they can make the payment based on their revenue. So they are able to afford their payment 2.26 times monthly. So, yeah.
And is there an industry DSCR that you want to see? Like, is 5 ideal, for example, or is 2.26?
Usually it's above 1. That's
Okay.
what we typically see. If it's under one, that means that they are not able to sustain the debt.
Suppose they're a startup, then, but is that just an estimate based on risk management or something? What?
That is based on projections, financial projections.
And those projections are generated by whom?
The lender and the client together, and or a coach.
And I typically see EBITDA as a percentage, which isn't terrible. I mean, or not a big deal. I think what the important one here is the DSCR, which I think is a pretty important metric.
Right.
I like it. I think it's a pretty comprehensive, easy to read. I'm glad you have flexibility for comments and risk assessment. I think it looks great.
This is Karen from Self Help. I just one comment. So I know right now, and so this may be moot, that Mountain BizWorks the only one doing lending. If the program, the intent is to grow over the years, and have other lenders decide to participate, not all lenders will have this same information or the same information this way. And so as long as it's Mountain BizWorks, this works great. But if there are going to be other lenders, this format probably won't work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can. We're okay with sending this out, and some of the items that it may not pertain to the business can just be omitted, or if it's not applicable, it won't be. But for the most part, I think it's general information. If they don't perform any kind of site visits, then it just be not applicable, and or I don't know, the fund type, and risk rating. So that those kinds of things can be omitted. But I can go ahead and take those out. I don't know if the committee wants to do that, but the purpose of this is to just have as much information as possible that is, of course, confidential, and or we won't be sharing any public information on here. But we wanted to have the committee just really have a better idea of what type of loans we're doing, and or more information of the business as much as that was possible without providing any private information.
Yes,
So
Lynn, this is Rachel. I was wondering if this would be used only for future proposed loans, or if there would be ability to go ahead and have fill one out for our current portfolio, since it's still pretty small.
I'm proposing that this would be used for the future ones, since the template for the other loans have already been approved. I think it would be best to just move forward with all the future requests. And with if the lenders have any other suggestions that some of the items that they may want to remove from the template and or add, I'm happy to meet with the lenders and look it over to see if we can change it. So this is
Jocelyn, this is Zuri. Can you share these forms with the other lenders on this call?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Karen brought up a topic just sort of peripherally that I think is important, and I just want to name so we don't lose and have it come up for future discussion, whether in this setting or offline and report back to this setting, but sort of exploring what gets in the way of the other two lenders participating at the level that Mountain BizWorks does participate. We do have 3 lenders, but only 1 active. And as a member of the committee, I'm not sure that I'm up to speed with what those barriers are. So I don't know that I would be positioned to help address them.
This is Dee Williams. I asked that question, and I know you can't answer me back on an email, but I asked what barriers there were. Is there a manpower shortage, or, there's one everywhere else. So from the other lenders participating, and also This form was designed, I used to use something, a derivation of it. So Jane Hatley and I got together and put this thing together when we started so that we would have a point of information. Most of us from time to time until about right now don't even know how many loans we had outstanding. It was kind of a guess in the neighborhood of. Has one been done for the loan that was approved at the last meeting? And if so, can we have that information sent to us with the minutes as an attachment or something that we can have to look at? And the other part, like to Rachel's question that I asked in the email, was, is there a particular reason? I'm usually a bad boy out here. I'll ask the questions nobody else will ask. And a lot of times it's done via email so that we kind of know what's going on. So those are my questions. And I would certainly just entertain you answering them if you can. Thanks.
I want to go back to one of the, there's a handful in there, but can you put the loan tracking in the minutes? And I don't know if anyone on the call can answer that question. I don't know. I'm not sure if we can or can't.
I'm not sure if I'm asking about the loan tracking so much as we need to know what number loan it is. I think last week might have been number 9. And prior to that, we were sent out a whole litany of everything from day 1 up through the 8th loan. And it's kind of like, it's a matter of just integrity. If you're an oversight or an operating committee, you usually know how many loans are in a portfolio. And you usually kind of know something specific about them. And I'm wondering, is there a sheet or a form for last month's loan that was approved, which I think is number 9?
That wasn't sent out to the committee. So that was sent out before the meeting. And there was an email also sent out with the data so far for all of the loans and the guarantee amount. So that's been sent out.
So there's a compilation of how many now? 8 or 9?
There is 10 of them.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm missing a sheet and I probably need to go look for it. Thanks.
This is Rachel. I think we could do a better job with our website, putting all materials there. That way, even if they go out by email, we can all just go to one place and get the documents.
And does that have any problem with the public comment or public information? If this was on a shared Google form, would that be password protected or sent to just over email through people on this committee, or does that open us up to too much exposure?
I think it's all public information, even if we're emailing it to one another.
Right. Well, how do you feel about a shared Google folder where we could keep a running list of these living documents? Would that violate anything? Would that be acceptable?
I'd prefer we just put it in the meeting materials in the packet. Basically, I'm saying stuff that gets emailed in between, can we just incorporate it into that month's packet?
And Dee, I think you cut off earlier, but the data is going to be shared every quarter. So the data that was shared was data from January through March. So it's once a quarter that will be sent out.
You mean as far as the forms that once a quarter they'll be sent out? Is that right?
The data.
When you say data, what are we referring to? What's on the form or what?
I don't have a name for it, but the report of the current loans, as of the balance, loan guarantee, and all that information.
Can you just send the sheets out? Because if we're asked to approve something, we need to know what we're approving.
The data collection form will be sent out when there's loans to be approved, yes. But I'm talking about the I guess the data for all of the loans, which was sent out on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, right.
Shared once a quarter.
Okay. And the other question, and thank you, Rachel, for interpreting for me. I sometimes don't get understood, but is there any reason why the other lenders haven't participated in making any of the loans?
Hey, Dee, this is Tim. Before we jump to that one, I want to see if we can close the last one. I apologize.
Not a problem.
So Rachel suggested using the existing website to store agendas, meeting minutes, all of the loan information that we're talking about, these sheets. Do we agree that we can do that? Rosanna, is that something where we work with you? How do we make this happen?
I'll gladly work with you guys. Send the information to me. Always make it a habit to include me in the emails. Just remember when we cannot discuss certain information as a group through email. So when you email, you cannot email asking questions or stuff like that to the entire group. You just can't do that. But if you email information to me, I can include it and pass it along. So just post it wherever it has to be posted. Actually, Angelica posts stuff for us, but I would rather have it come to me, and then I'll work with Angelica.
Yep. So this is Rachel, and to restate what I was suggesting is that these loan sheets or the data reports that come out quarterly, that we just put it in the meeting packet because that's already built into the website and should be easy to do. I do think we could also improve the website more generally, so somebody could click and see our portfolio without having to review meeting minutes and documents to sort of find that. But that's a level of enhancement that probably takes planning with IT and web, and it's more complicated. So minimally, it should be pretty easy just to copy in Rosanna and practice the habit of putting things in our meeting packet. That way we don't have to say, check your email from this month or that month to go find something.
I think that'd be great.
We're jumping all over the place, and I know that it's 10:28. I also want to say out loud, we never closed the conversation on branding logo. That was a loose end from last time. We didn't have a quorum. So to our new chair, please hear that. So when agenda development occurs, maybe we can talk website content and branding and wrap that into a future conversation. And I'm very interested, like Dee is, and I certainly never would try to be an interpreter for you, Dee, but I do share your interest in, just understanding, are there things that get in the way of us being, as a program, as effective as we thought we might be when we set out this concept? And so whether or not that's a full group discussion or a small group discussion and report back, I really don't know how. I don't know what the barriers are with those other two CDFIs, and I would be curious. So I'm asking, can that either be on an agenda? Well, can it be on a future agenda, either as a report out or as a discussion?
Rachel and Dee, thank you so much. Let me address a couple things. First, Rosanna, could we on the next agenda, I'll put 20 minutes for branding, website, and logo?
Yeah. During a conversation, Lynn had taken over doing the agenda and not me.
Okay.
So it's that going to you doing the agenda.
Got it. I'll make my own note for the agenda then for 20 minutes on branding, logo, and website.
This is Tony. Sorry to jump in. I've got to jump to another meeting here in just a moment. I'm just wondering, it seems like the meetings I've been to, we always end up going a little beyond 10:30. Do we need to discuss extending the time, perhaps starting earlier or going a little later?
Thank you, Tony. I'd prefer to start a little earlier myself, 9:15. 9:15 to 10:30. Would that be appropriate for folks?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It sounds like that was.
One of the issues is that the tech support provided to public input doesn't begin until 9 a.m. So it is good to have a half an hour before we begin the meeting to work out any problems. Like as we had that issue today, it took some time to work out.
So then 9:30 to 10:45. Is 15 minutes enough, Tony, or should we go a full half hour extra?
I think that should work.
Okay, great. So let's do 9:30 to 10:45. Thank you, Tony.
I'll update that.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. I'll update the invitation. And I have one more question. The next meeting is July 2nd or 1st or something like that. So I'm assuming some people will be on vacation. Would you like me to update the invitation starting then, or are you planning on skipping that meeting? Or I just want to know how to proceed for that date, and then I can make that change.
I think our government holiday would be Monday. I was just trying to check that.
That's what it is for us. Yep.
It is Monday.
Well, folks, would you prefer to do it on the 2nd, hold it there, move it to July 9th, which would be the 2nd Friday of the month? Or I guess the other option is to completely skip it, which I prefer. I think we got a handful of items we got to jump on, so I'd like to have it in July.
Please
So
let me check the public meeting schedule before looking at July 9th. One moment.
And I know we're at time, Tony. If you have to hop, or you have to hop. Feel free.
Yeah, I do, and I'm good with either the 2nd or the 9th. So whatever
Thank
you
you
all
so much.
decide. Thank you all.
And then I don't know if there was a decision or questions on the data collection form, but yeah. So I'm assuming that's got to go through lawyers and legal and all that stuff.
Do you
July
need
9th
anything?
looks like a possibility.
This is Rachel. I'm fine with either date. Yes, Lynn, please let us know if there's anything needed from county legal.
Our next agenda item here, Nikki, I see your note as well. Thank you. Last agenda item before public comment is list of loan tracking, and it's on the chair. I'm not sure what document that's referring to. Is that just the running total of loans? Okay. Well, Yaslin, do you have that handy or updated that we could review?
The last update was through March. It's not been updated yet.
Okay. So how about at July, will we have our last quarter report at the July meeting?
Correct.
Sounds great.
I hope I will be out for two weeks and a half, so I may not have time to get that completed. But if not, we can push it to the next meeting. If that's okay. Either way, it will be sent out in July.
Okay. Very good. All right.
I didn't.
Go ahead,
Jeff,
Dee.
this is Dee, and I didn't get a link to the meeting. So just add me to the mailing list or whatever, the Zoom list by phone or video or whatever. I just wanted to make that. I was waiting on one. I didn't get it until you sent it to me just a few minutes before the meeting. So
I had it in a calendar invite. I don't know if you had a calendar invite. It didn't, nothing. Okay,
No.
well, I'll check the invite list again. Sorry about that, Dee.
Heidi, I'm sorry about that. You are on the calendar invite. You are in every single meeting. I can confirm your email if that helps maybe. DEROTHEAWILLIAMS@att.net. That's what I have here for you. Is that correct?
Dee, you're muted. Still muted. Can I unmute you? No, I can't.
About that.
I did
There
not
you
get
are.
one from you. I do apologize. I've had issues with my email, so I'm not saying it's deliberate, but I'm just saying I didn't get one and just want to make sure I'm on that list. I do apologize.
The link D doesn't change. It's the same link. It's recurring.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it can be added to the top of the, I don't know if you can do that, because if you add it to the top of the agenda, it may open up for anyone to join outside the meeting.
No, I just needed to know that it was the same link over. So no, I'm good. Thank you.
Very good. We're going to jump into public comment unless there's any other comments or business. Angelica, may I ask you, have there been any pre-recorded or emailed comments?
I have not received any public comments, nor have there been any live callers.
Okay, so then I'll read the script. We'll also be taking any live public comments for up to an hour. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes for public comment. Staff will now collect live calls from our speaker queue. Angelica said there are none. So in that case, I guess we are adjourned.
Yes, Jeff, and I think that will help if you read that live public comment piece at the beginning.
Which part do you mean?
The PC just said about how people can join to comment live.
I mean, the beginning of the meeting.
Yes, they won't be in the meeting. They'll be able to speak. They won't be like in the Google Meet, but they'll be participating via public input. But that will be good for them to know, like if they're watching.
Gotcha.
They'll hear that at the beginning and know that they're able to call in.
Great. Okay, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Have a great weekend. Have a great month. We'll be talking to some of you in the meantime. Otherwise, we'll see you either July 2nd or 9th. Look out for a link. Okay.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Take care. See ya.
Bye.